It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on the front page of Nigerian newspapers. And I begin with the Leadership newspaper. The major story here says, Rex to brief INEC chairman on Beavers reconfiguration today. Rex to brief INEC chairman on Beavers reconfiguration today. You'll find all the details on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. And now to the Business AM. Analysts fear economic losses on INEC's rescheduling of election. Analysts fear economic losses on INEC's rescheduling of elections. To the Nation newspaper now. Emefiele launches fresh plot against President-elect Tinubu. CBN boss conspires with Jen on Lagos polls. Doles out 500 million naira new notes to LP's campaign. You'll find the details on the front page of the Nation newspaper. To the Punch newspaper now, governors give Malami Emefiele Tuesday ultimatum to obey Supreme Court. Failure to comply will lead to contempt charge Tuesday. Zamfara AG is speaking. And to the front page of this Nigeria, APC zoning of NAS offices call for Adamu's resignation top agenda. APC zoning of NAS offices calls for Adamu's resignation top agenda. National Working Committee elected lawmakers meet Tinubu today. Rights activists demand national chairman's ouster. Mike.
All right, I have the Blueprint newspaper here, and it says ACF, that's the Arewa Consultative Forum, to Buhari on Naira Redesign. Ignoring Supreme Court order can lead to anarchy. Ignoring Supreme Court order can lead to anarchy. That's what the Blueprint is saying. And this is coming from Arewa Consultative Forum, saying that to President Muhammadu Buhari. Says 10 days long enough for federal government to comply. And Adeleke urges CBN to call banks to order. Commercial banks count losses amid cash scarcity. And the Abia government threatens to sanction individuals rejecting old notes. You will see all this on the front page of the Blueprint newspaper. Nigeria News Direct is next. Nigeria News Direct says legal tender crisis, that's the focus. ATMs dispense old notes as banks reject old notes deposit. Right? ATMs dispense old notes as banks reject old notes deposit. Okay, all that on the front page of the News Direct. Now let's move to Abuja Inquirer. All right, moving to Abuja Inquirer. Q Nation. Long lines everywhere from banks, fuel stations to hospitals. Q Nation. Long lines everywhere from banks, fuel stations to hospitals. These are all stories on the front page of the Abuja Inquirer. First News is next, and it's talking about Naira Redesign. All right, disobeying Supreme Court could trigger anarchy. ACF warns Buhari. Disobeying Supreme Court could trigger anarchy. ACF warns Buhari. Says president's disposition could cause breakdown of law and order. Argues policy has damaged Buhari's credentials. Okay, that's you see on the front page of First News. Business Day is the next one we're looking at, and is focusing on the old Naira. Buhari's silence deepens Nigeria's pain. On the old note, or old Naira, Buhari's silence deepens Nigerians' pain. That's what Business Day has there on the front page. From there, let's go now to national economy. Naira scarcity is the focus. E-payments failure compounds Nigerians' woes. E-payments failure compounds Nigerians' woes. Persistent hiccups discredit 100 billion naira digital investment claims. All right, and financial transactions worst hit. All that on the front page of the national economy. Now, Daily Trust is the last one we're looking at. Daily Trust newspaper is the last one we're looking at now. And it says 48 days after Buhari's committee fails to end petrol scarcity. 48 days after Buhari's committee fails to end petrol scarcity. Subsidy gobbled 2.4 trillion naira in 6 months. Motorists buy at 300 naira per litre in Kaduna, others, and presidency remains mum. All this you see on the front page of Daily Trust. Veronica?
Right. Gentlemen, this matter of the president's silence to the ruling of the Supreme Court, like the front page of the Business Day puts it, it says, is deepening Nigerians' pain, Sam. Just yesterday, our security came to meet my husband and he was practically shaking, like he cannot get money to buy food and he is hungry. It's not as if he does not have money in his account. He cannot buy food. His wife is in the north. He sends money to her. They can't access the money. And she was also ill at the time. It's such a complex, we've had narratives, all sorts of stories with regards to this matter. Yes, the president is silent.
Yes, the president is silent, and the silence is seen as insensitive. It's not only silent on the ruling of the Supreme Court, it's silent on the sufferings of the people, it's silent on the cries by people on various levels to get him to intervene on this matter. I saw a video the other day of rotten plantains. Plantains that people wanted to buy, that those who own it wanted to sell. But you don't have money to buy it, so I can't give you the plantain. So the plantain rots. My money, my investment rots. It is a terrible thing. And then you think that you want to take care of what do you call it? The electronic transfer. I was somewhere yesterday and I wanted to make payment, and I wanted to move there to another store before the other store closed. But they delayed me in this store, in this place, because the thing wasn't working. And by the time I was done with them, the thing didn't work. Before I went the other way, it had closed. That happened just last night. Okay. So that is what we are going through. And if I didn't have some cash with me, I probably will have stayed there much longer. Because I was somewhere else where I was to make payment, and it took forever, because I had to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and they started looking for
signal
everywhere, like blind people. It's a terrible thing. I say you want to trust one thing in order to get another thing, and then you don't get this and you don't get that. The rule of law is destroyed, so you make yourself a Democrat. That's not how to be a Democrat. You have to be a respecter of the rules. Democracy is about rules. You don't respect that. You don't respect the people. You don't respect the institution. You don't respect technology. You don't respect money. You don't respect processes. What do you respect? Only yourself.
It's unfortunate. The stories was, I was looking through the papers this morning, and an expert was saying that Nigeria has lost about 20 trillion naira in terms of businesses, right? Well,
it could even be worse than that, because if you want to calculate in terms of investment that would have come in, but refused to come in because of the state of things, if you calculate that into the entire pool of investment, or what Nigeria has lost, is even greater than that. Now, the point is, we have seen even in countries that are developed, where the president can speak to people at every opportunity you have to speak to the people, the president speaks. Whether it is in the United States or it's in the United Kingdom, there are issues coming up on a daily basis, and the statement from the president sometimes calms nerves, other times make clarifications. So when we have a situation where a president doesn't speak to the people, Nigerians are yearning to at least say something. Let us know what the way forward is. Yeah. And then Nigerians are begging to hear from the president, and he doesn't speak, especially when Nigerians are going through all of this circumstance. It makes them conclude that the president is insensitive to their plight. Even if the president has good intentions. Whatever the president, of course, the president has the highest level of information than any of us will. But what is the translation of the information that the president has to the benefit of the people when the people don't understand? So it is when you speak that Nigerians will understand, okay, the information the president has and what he's planning to do is for our interest. So this is a very terrible situation. And like the Arewa Consultative Forum has said, all the good things the president has done,
the legacy,
this could rubbish everything. Because the point there is that, like they say, you are as good as your last presentation in presentation. So the point there is, if this is the last thing the president is doing, nobody's going to remember any good thing that he has done. Because it will leave the sour taste as to, well, the president, this was the last thing he did before he left. And that is what will be in the minds of Nigerians for a long period of time.
Right.
So he is very concerned with the issue of leaving a legacy. And he has to ensure that he leaves a legacy of respecting the rule of law, like Sam has said. He needs to leave a legacy of ensuring that he is sensitive to Nigerians' plight.
Right.
The thing is conceit and conscience.
Right.
It's conceit now that is now having more power in his than
Let's hope that...
Look at IBB. You remember IBB? Annulment of June 12. Nobody talked about some of the good things he did.
Yeah. They just remember June 12.
June 12.
That's it.
That's all. You know, is that the man made us hungry. That's what they will say. He took our money from us.
Unfortunately. But we are hoping that perhaps this week could hear something from the president. It's a new week, and we are hoping that perhaps later today or in the course of the week, the president speak to Nigerians. This is where we leave the newspaper review now.